welcome to another Tuesday Home Finance Hacks. We are going to be talking about wealth building in real estate. We're going to be talking about how you can really make the right choice. First and foremost, congratulations on being here, because the right choice is actually showing up here on Tuesdays live at 7 p.m. every Tuesday, so that you can get this information, the tips, the tricks, the resources, the tactics, the tools to help you get into a home and save thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in the process. And that's actually what we're going to be talking about here. Not so much saving, but how you can earn money with your home purchase. And so we're going to be talking about building that wealth through real estate. A lot of people look at real estate as an investment, and it is an investment. Even if it's your primary residence, owning a home is an investment. So don't let anyone tell you different. It takes an investment of your time. It takes an investment of your resources. Even if you're not immediately getting cash flow off of it, this is an investment for you. And that investment can pay off dividends in the long run. If you sell that home, if you decide to refinance that home and use the cash for something else, if you decide to pass that home along to your children and give them a home mortgage free so that they're starting on a level up that you weren't able to start on. There's so many ways that this investment can not only benefit you, but can benefit your lineage as well. So let's get straight on into it. When we're talking about real estate being an investment, I'm going to compare this to buying stocks. When you go to purchase a stock, most people want to know, what's the stock that I should buy? Which one is currently low or undervalued right now, or that the market is undervaluing, which has a huge potential to increase a lot. And a lot of people want to see that increase in a short period of time. Sometimes it might take, a few years, but a lot of people want to see a shorter time frame. But in any case, you want to know, which stocks can I get right now, which are currently undervalued by the market, that I can jump in. Maybe it's something that the market's missing. And then you can buy that stock, and over the next year, 2 years, 5 years even, you can just see that stock skyrocket. And so most people aren't thinking, oh, I like that company, that's the one I'm gonna buy. Oh, I like that company, I'm gonna get a bunch of shares of that company as well. No, they are, if they're not doing their own research, they are digging into the research that other people have done to make their determination, or they're just giving their money to a fund manager if you're investing in a mutual fund or something along those lines. But in any case, all of the research, the work, the decision-making process is being done based on what has the most potential to bring in the most revenue, the most return, or what's going to be a stable investment. When it comes to buying a home, people like to look at it as an investment, but they don't approach it that way. They approach it from the standpoint of, oh, this is what I want in a home. I want a home that has this many bedrooms, this many bathrooms. I want this much square feet. I want a yard that's this big, or I don't want a yard at all. I want this, I want that. And they rattle off this list of wants, their wish list of what they want in a home, not realizing that those things might not yield you the greatest return when it comes to building wealth. If you're a first-time home buyer and you're looking to purchase your first home, you should be looking more from the vantage point of, how can I best maximize this home for cash flow, or for wealth building, for a return on my investment when I'm done with this home and moving on to the next one. Because that first home that you buy is more than likely not going to be your forever home. And so knowing that, entering into that first home buying decision with the mindset that, you know what, I need to purchase a home that's in an area that's going to allow this home to really be a cash cow for me. It's really going to be a resource that's going to generate a lot of wealth for me. And so there's a few things that you can do to position yourself to be able to approach it from that angle. One, know what your end game is at the onset. When you're getting started with this home buying endeavor, know what the end game is. And by that, I mean, when you're done with this first home, because again, it's not going to be your forever home. So when you're done with it, what's the plans? Do you plan on renting this home out? Do you want to be a landlord, or maybe hire a property manager, but you want to own some rental properties? So do you plan on renting this property out and maintaining it as a rental property? Or do you plan on selling this property and using the proceeds, or some of the proceeds, to buy the next scale up home that you want to buy? Or do you plan on keeping this home as long as possible in the family and maybe passing it along to your children for them to sell or do whatever they want to do, because in all honesty, your kids probably aren't going to want to live in it. There's a few that will, but a lot of them kind of want to go off and do their own thing. And that's okay. But the point of the matter is, you want to know from the onset what it is that your end goal is for this home. What's your exit strategy? And so once you've determined that, let's say that your exit strategy is going to be, I want to rent this home out. I'm going to be a landlord. I'm going to hire a property management company, or you're going to self-manage. I highly recommend hiring a property management company. Take all of that work off of your shoulders, put it on someone else who their job is to just take care of all of that stuff. But in any case, if that's going to be your goal, that's your exit strategy, is to have this home as a rental property and just maintain it for however many years. In that case, you want to look at this first home that you're looking to buy through the eyes of who else would want to live here? What other amenities exist in this area or in this location that could potentially be attractive for people who are wanting to rent in this area? How many other homes are there for rent in this area? These are questions that you want to start getting the answers to when you're looking for that home to buy. You don't want to start looking at a home like, oh, I want to be in this area. This is not your forever home. And especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you don't have a family, then you know what? You want to look at stuff like the school district, but you want to look at it only from the sense of, is this something that a renter would want to rent? You want to look at, is this in walking distance from restaurants or stores or shops? You know, is it in a downtown area, or is it more in the suburbs where it's drivable? And if it is in the suburbs, is it in a desirable part of the suburbs that people want to live in? Maybe it's not too far of a drive from different activities or schools or the park or things like that, which might be, you know, things that would attract people to want to rent out your home. Maybe it's near the Beltline, which is something that we have here in Atlanta. It's a walking, jogging, biking path that goes all throughout, you know, different parts of Atlanta, and allows people to be able to transit around Atlanta, either by foot or by bike, or, you know, scooter or skateboard or whatever. Something that's not motorized, but you know, it's highly popular. And so being near the Beltline increases the value of your property. But these are things you want to start looking at. How much are homes renting for in the area that you're looking at looking at potentially purchasing in? Because you can know how much your mortgage is, but you now need to know how much our rental rate's going to be, because you need to know at the onset, will I be able to rent this out for enough to cover the mortgage, or am I going to need to come out of my pocket an extra $100, $200, $300 in order to make the mortgage payment? Not that that's a bad thing, but it's something you definitely want to be prepared for at the beginning. And so that's one of those things that you want to, you know, these are just some of the questions you want to start asking yourself when you're looking to purchase that home, so that you can make sure that you're making the best decision, not a decision for you. Because again, this is your first home. This is a home that you're looking to maximize the profit from. And that might mean you having to forego some of the things that you want in a home. Maybe you have to forego purchasing in that area that you would prefer to be in, because the better investment opportunity is in a different area. Maybe you forego, you know, having the bedrooms that you want to have, or you forego having, you know, the kitchen that you want to have, because the opportunity for you to maximize and maybe make an extra $50,000, $75,000 off of this home could be with a different property. And so those are some of the things that you want to look at. Let's say that you're not wanting to become a landlord. Let's say that you're looking to, you know what, after I'm done with this home, I don't want to deal with the tenants, the toilets, the termites, what they call the triple T of renting: tenants, toilets, termites. You don't want to deal with any of that. You just want to sell this home, take your money, and go do what you want with it. Maybe purchase another home, maybe invest it in something else. If that's your aim, then you want to start looking at properties that are in areas that are growing and developing, because over the next 5 years or 10 years, however long you're going to be living in that property, you want to know that you have a higher chance of equity being built in your home through the appreciation, through that home becoming more and more valuable. Because two ways that you build equity in a home: one is amortization. That's with you making on-time monthly mortgage payments, because with every mortgage payment, you pay down a little bit more on that principal and a little bit more on that principal until you get to the point to where 30 years later, you don't have a mortgage anymore because you paid it all off. However, the faster way that equity gets built in a home is not through amortization with you making those monthly mortgage payments, is through appreciation with the home value going up and up and up. On average, currently, home values appreciate or increase about 4% year over year on average. And that's been the case for about the last 60 plus years. So that's a good gauge to tell you about how much you can expect homes to appreciate on average. Now, of course, you're going to have some years where you might have an appreciation of only 1% or 2%. Then you have some huge years where you have an appreciation of 8%, 7%. But in any case, on average, when you average in the recessions with, the high points as well, then it averages out to about 4% year over year. So it slightly outpaces inflation, which is good because you own an asset that is growing in value quicker than what inflation is adding to the cost of all the goods and services in our nation. And so with that, you want to start looking at areas, again, that are up and coming, areas that are developing. Maybe they're areas that you can go into any county, or most counties, I should say. I haven't gone into everyone, so I can't say that for certain, but a lot of counties out there actually have a proposed development plan. They have a 5-year, 10-year, some of them even a 15-year outlook on things that are going to be built within that county or within that city even over the next 10 years. So you can see some of the developments that will be coming to a particular city or a particular area. And that will give you a good idea of, okay, this is an area that's going to start growing. Maybe you start seeing where apartments are going to be built, or you start seeing where other homes are going to be built, or you start saying, hey, there's going to be an amusement park that's going to be here. It's going to be really attractive for a lot of tourists and a lot of people. Maybe you see a company that's decided to move a warehouse or a facility that's going to supply a lot of jobs for people working in this area. Is going to bring a lot of money into the community. You see some things that are going to attract people that may potentially also have an increase in the value of the homes that are in that area. That's some of the things that you want to start looking for, because that's going to be indicative of a place that you may want to consider purchasing, so that 5 years from now, 8 years from now, when you're no longer wanting to live here anymore and you want to sell and get the max that you can possibly get, that's how you find that value. You look and you say, okay, you know what, this is going to be a good area. It's not at the top of the, budget. If you're looking at a city, every city, especially major metropolitan cities have, some areas that are expensive to live in the city, and you got some areas not so expensive, and you got some less desirable areas to live in. And you kind of do your research all around and find where you can get those deals. Maybe those deals are in some of the less desirable areas, but they're up and coming. Maybe some of those areas are being gentrified. Maybe it's in the, the middle, price range area, and you find some deals there. You just look all around and you want to see, where is it that I can get in? And there's some stuff that's going on that's going to boost up home prices over here, or maybe some things with the economy that's going to boost up home prices. So that's where you start focusing, so that, hey, 5 years from now, 8 years from now, focusing on the right area could be the difference between you walking away from a closing when you sell that home 8 or 10 years from now. It could be the difference between you walking away from the closing with $60,000 and you walking away from the closing with $120,000 in your pocket. That's literally how big of a difference it can make with you just choosing the right home. And if you really want to know, if you could just fast forward in time and see yourself 10 years from now selling that first home for however much you're selling it for, above what you paid for it, and then you do a little research back 10 years and see what other homes were listed at the same time that you bought your home, you could see, if I had purchased that one, I could have potentially been selling that for even more. Or maybe I made the best decision, because now I wouldn't have made as much money if I had purchased this other home. Just like you would do all of the research with the stocks. If you were going to get into the stock market and you're researching the companies, you're researching their finances, you're researching the leadership team, the management team, who's the CEO, who's the COO, who's the CFO, how is this company being run? You're looking at the potential headwinds that they have, but you're also looking at the potential tailwinds that they have. What products do they have, and what's the need for those products and everything? You should be doing that same level of investigation when it comes to you purchasing a home. Because again, this first home is not going to be your forever home. But so many people get so narrowly focused on what they want, and all they can see is I like, I like, I like, I don't like, I don't like, I don't like, that they miss the opportunity over here, opportunity over there, opportunity over here, because they don't like the kitchen, or over here the bedrooms are a little too small for them, or they don't like the master bathroom here. So all of these different things play into the fact that people end up making, less than optimal decisions when it comes to purchasing that first home. But by you listening to this, taking these notes, run it back, listen to it again, write down some of these things that you need to be asking yourself and get those answers, so that when you go to purchase that first home, you can sell it and put 6 figures in your pocket, rather than selling it in again, if you put 50,000 in your pocket, you're still much better off than your average American. However, if you could do 2 or 3 times that amount just by making a better decision on which home you purchase that has more potential, with maybe even a little bit of money that you put into it to be able to get a huge return back, that's going to really pay off for you huge in the long run. So that's what I have for you. Thank you for taking the time to tune in. As always, tune in on Fridays. We'll be dropping another episode of Greatest Asset Community Podcast, and be right back here Tuesday next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for another episode of Home Finance Hacks. Till next time, take care, be blessed, and we'll see you next week.